Hey everybody, Scout Crafty here again, midweek Wednesday. Hope you're doing well. We got a lot of stuff to get to today. First off, I want to start off talking about a battery I picked up. Had to go upstate and work on my lawn tractor, and let me tell you that story real quick. Now, let's recap what's going on here. I have a John Deere lawn tractor upstate that I use to mow the lawn, and it was giving me a little bit of an issue. First of all, what happened was, as you know, the batteries on anything that you have, lawn tractor, anything you don't use all the time, they become a problem because batteries like to be topped off. They don't like to be drained down. It's a whole thing, and that's exactly the opposite of what happens when you have a lawn tractor or anything sitting in a shed up there for months at a time or even a couple weeks without being used. So I came up with this way to conquer that. First of all, what I was doing is I was bringing a small jump charger, you know, one of them jump packs up and jumping the tractor every time I needed it, because I would only start it once, mow the lawn, and then finish. The problem was, what I found out the hard way, see this is called an electronic control unit, and this thing, apparently, when you jump start your tractor, this thing gets fried, and I didn't know that at the time because I'm old school, you know. I don't even know what this thing is or what it does, but anyway, I fried it. So I had to get another one of these, $100, right? Crazy. But I said I can't be jump starting my my lawn tractor anymore. I have to get a battery. So I got this AGM. It's absorbent glass mat. These are great batteries. I have been using these batteries. I bought one for my truck years ago, and when I bought it, I remember they're about twice the price of a regular battery. However, they're not crazy like the new lithium phosphate batteries. Those things are just exorbitantly priced. I don't know how, you know, how can you justify spending 5 times the price of a battery, you know? But this is about twice. But, you know, when I bought my truck battery, they said 8-year warranty, replacement warranty, not prorated. Meaning if that battery was to go in 8 years, they would give me a brand new one. I couldn't believe it. And sure enough, I've had the thing for more than 8 years, and the thing was fantastic. So the military uses these. The nice thing about the AGM batteries, the advanced glass mat, you can mount them anyway, upside down, left, right. They're a little heavy. They're good in all kinds of weather. They're fantastic batteries. You can run them down low like a low drain battery. You know, you don't have to keep them above a certain voltage. They're great batteries. So I said, okay, so I'm going to spend the extra money. I'll get an AGM battery, but now I need to put it in and out of the tractor, because I could use this in all the different vehicles I have. I have an older tractor here. I have other things. I might want to run some 12-volt accessories at home. So I bought these. See, they come with the regular nuts on here, you know. Then I bought the posts. I bought these brass posts on Amazon. I put the posts on, and then I bought these awesome clamp type battery terminals. So you could see now they just clamp right onto the battery, and I could put the battery in, clamp it, takes a minute, not even, and then unclamp it, 30 seconds, and I'm gone. I could take it with me back home, charge it when I get home, do whatever I have to do. So I think that's a good thing. If you have a vehicle, you don't want to leave, because the last thing you want to do is leave this in your vehicle over the winter where it sits there with the cold, it's not charged, you know, it's that bad on the battery. So pop it out of your lawn tractor, whatever you have to do, bring it in the house, put it in the basement, and I think that's a good system there. What do you think? Okay, next up, I told you, ran into a bunch of guys at the Long Island Tool Meet. My buddy Mike the fireman. Mike gave me this. He says, "Here, I know you really enjoyed." He has a couple of these, and boy, Mike finds a lot of good stuff, doesn't he? Anyway, he said, "Here, maybe you can enjoy the cleanup for the channel." You can see what this is. This is a Black & Decker right-angle drill. We showed this a while ago. Let me show you. The first thing you want to do when you get one of these is you want to take your voltometer, put it on continuity, and check with your ground, because you don't know if somebody put this plug on. You don't know what the deal is. Touch one end to the ground, one end to the case of the drill here, like this, and see that you get continuity. And I did that, and I do. We have continuity, so we know that ground is hooked up. It's not just a fake cord put on there. So let's plug this in and see if it works. Okay, here you can see it's the Black & Decker called the Shorty drill. And you can see it's rated at 2 amps, 2,000 RPM, 1/4 inch, and it's got that great paddle switch here. It's so easy to work. Let's try it out. Isn't that beautiful? Somebody set it up here with a Phillips bit. I guess they were doing maybe drywall work or something. I don't have a chuck key for this. I'm going to get a chuck key. It's not on the cord. Just checking. It's not on the cord. But isn't this beautiful? I'll tell you, these things are great. So we'll clean this up. We'll do this in an upcoming episode. But isn't that beautiful? And look how they enclosed the chuck, because you can get at it in 4 positions with the key, but it protects the chuck, this little collar. And nice rundown. This thing is just beautiful. Mike, thanks so much. Next up, also from Mike, I bought this. Mike gave me a really good deal on this. Do you know what this is? This is a pipe reamer, but made by Ridgid, model 2S. And this is just beautiful. Now, if ever you're going to buy a pipe reamer, and I use these quite a bit, not this particular one. I'll show you what these are the ones that I've had and been using, or these type. These are somewhat spiral, small spiral reamers. These were meant to be chucked into a brace. You can see with the square shank. I don't usually use them in a brace. I kind of use them by hand a lot of times. And what they're for is when you cut any type of pipe or tubing, if you use whether you use a hacksaw, a bandsaw, whatever you're going to use, even if you're going to use a tubing cutter, you're always going to have a ridge in here that has to be reamed out, a sharp edge. You always want to get rid of that. So with something like these, and when you buy these, the first thing you have to see is, because they do get dull, is if they have their edge to it. Are they still sharp? They might be sharp up here because they don't get used much up here, or maybe they were used a lot here. But if they're dull, you know, they're really not going to work as good if you get a sharp one. You know, here, this one here is much sharper than that one. And you can resharpen these, but it takes time. And how you would use it is you would take it in here. Now, you see that sharp edge on the inside of that tubing? Well, you would take this like this, and look at the little shavings I'm making. You see the shavings that are coming up there? That's how you could tell this is a nice, sharp one. And you just twist it around, twisting the pipe back and forth. And you can use, now if you use a brace, this goes much quicker, obviously, but I do it by hand. Now, look what we did. We softened the edge of the inside here. Very nice. We put a little kind of inside chamfer in. You can also, this is a smaller one, will give you a little bit of a steeper angle, but again, that's what that does. Now, this one here from Mike is made by Ridgid. These things are quite expensive. Now, the first thing you got to do, the first thing you always do, is you touch it. And sure enough, this has a very sharp edge. Plus, the spiral on this is absolutely beautiful. And you can, anything by Ridgid is really good. Now, we'll put this in here into the pipe. We'll just give it a quick turn. And look at the shavings that are coming off there. Can you see that? Nice, long spiral shavings. I'm in the other end of that tubing now. But look at that. And you could see we brought up, look at them shavings that we cut up. So you know this is sharp. Does a nice job here. Again, you would pull these out when you're finished. But this is on PVC. It's meant to be used for regular pipe. You use it on aluminum, steel, cast, whatever. And let's clean this up, and I'll give you a demo on this piece of pipe, because this is what I'm going to use for the handle. Now, to use this reamer, there's 2 short pipes that this one here is kind of permanently fixed on here. So this one pipe here, and then you could put another pipe in here. You can see it's threaded, and I have an piece of aluminum pipe here, and this is for leverage, and this happens to be what I'll use for ratcheting. I'll show you how that works in a minute, but we wire brush this to get all the you'll get a lot of hand oil and sweat and rust. We'll keep it on. Also wire brush this. Now we'll lubricate it, and we'll also clean up this handle. Again, this was up in the rafters here. This here, you can see, was a rough cut, and we're going to ream out the inside of that. Now this has a very sharp burr all along the inside of here, which you don't want, because this is going to be the handle. So the first thing you do is just spray it with a little WD-40 because this is aluminum and that's really good for that. We'll push this in like this and we're going to turn it, okay? And we're going to turn it, and I have it clamped down on there, but a pipe vise would really be the best way to go. But we're just going to turn it lightly. We're not putting a ton of pressure on here, but we're getting rid of all that. There we go, nice and smooth on the inside. So and you can see the shavings that we got on the Reamer, but that's how you would use this. Now normally I'll show you when this handle goes on here and you would do it like this, you see, but again, we're working on the handle. So now some of you might remember this Vulcan #1. I put this on a board. I did a video on this. A pipe vise is really important for when you're clamping down any kind of pipe, especially something like PVC, because if you clamp too hard, you'll wind up oblonging it, you know, squeezing it down. So a chain or pipe vise, when it goes around, it gives equal pressure and it won't do that. So we're going to mount this in here. And how you mount it, it's very simple. You take this chain, you wrap it around here, it falls into a slot on the other side, and then you just twist this here to tighten it until it gets to the point where it's pretty tight, and then you use the leverage here, you see, and you could really crank down on this and make it nice and tight that this won't slip. And again, it's giving full pressure all the way around. Now, here we have the handle that I made. You can see the bottom of it. This is, you want this smooth because if you grip it, you don't want anything sharp. So we have that nice and smooth. I'm going to put a drop of oil, even though I cleaned and polished the threads. I always put a drop of, this is mineral oil. I'm going to put that on here. This would go into here, you see? And look at that. Just a smooth, beautiful thing. You know, so this handle could be, it doesn't have to be that long. You don't need a tremendous amount of leverage to do any kind of reaming. This here is phone and reverse, you know. We're going to keep it this because we're going to cut. I don't really know why you would need reverse for this operation. We're going to push this in here like this into the PVC. Okay, here we go. And then we're just going to show you how. You would put pressure on here, okay. Look at those spiral chips coming out. Isn't that pretty? But the harder you would push, and that would ream out the inside of your pipe, and that's how you would use that. So there we go. We're calling this project done. You can see it's nice and clean now. It's as new as I'm going to get it, right? And to lubricate it, just you see that crease here between there, a little 50-50 in there, work it around. And one thing nice about whenever you get pipe tools, a lot of times they're, because you're using cutting fluid, things like that, a lot of times they're usually not dry. In fact, they're usually caked with cutting oil, which acts as almost like a lubricant for some of it, but the 50-50 in there will clean that out and we're good to go. Okay, next up, look at this beauty here. You see this? You will not believe what I paid for this, but you will after you see the problems. It's got issues, okay? And I'm done buying vices. I have a bunch of vices in the wings waiting to be done. I got all kinds of nice vices. But this one here, you can see it's marked 4.5. I don't know what it is. Here's, I paid $1. 36 pounds this thing weighs. I paid $1. The jaws, look at, here's the issue, okay? You ready for this? I know you're thinking like, unbelievable. Well, let me show you what the issue is. When you turn this vise over, a lot of the early vices had these little edges here that were meant to go on the corner of a bench, okay? So they weren't flat, they had a little lip on the bottom. Everybody hated those lips because you couldn't mount it, you had to mount it on the edge of a bench. So that's why they did away with them. You know, you don't see them too much today. A lot of guys used to break them off, which might have been what happened here. They might have tried to break it or whatever the case. But somebody, apparently this vise had some issues. Somebody tried to braze it or something like that. And they did, I guess it held up for a while. But the problem is it doesn't close. Now this thing came with soft jaws so that they, you know, they were pretty thick soft jaws. I don't particularly like using soft jaws, leaving them in the vise or whatever. And you can see the brazing comes up around here, around this area here, and it doesn't close all the way, okay? So because it doesn't close all the way, It would have to have some grind work done, but I think I could get this back into, you know how I can make a vise nice and smooth again, but it's a heavy, the casting the iron on here is real hard. It's got the good little back piece here. Again, these aren't made to wail on, but it's nice and flat. What do you think? You think you'd like to see this horn saved? It would be a great giveaway at maybe the spring show, but look at the ball on the bottom here. You can tell here, that's a pretty meaty ball, you know, that they have here. And this rod. You can always tell how hefty or strong a vise is by the thickness of your turning rod. If you have a little wimpy turning rod, they don't have much confidence in the vise. So anyway, what do you think? By the way, that vise was from Chris's Dollar Table, so special thanks to Chris for that. We'll see what we can do. It'd be a good trip. Here's another project. Okay, we're going to end it up with this one here. This here, again, was given by Mike, the fireman. Mike said, you know, look at this. He says, this be fun for the... And look at this. This is a Craftsman. We've all seen this before when they get... I mean, this is probably one of the worst as far as clouding up goes. But that's because this is an acetate handle. The chemicals weren't mixed correctly in the right proportions, and you would have this happen. Western Forge, even though it's USA made, they were notorious for having bad batches come out. I have a couple of them. In fact, it always makes me laugh because no matter what you, no matter how many times you clean this up, it'll always cloud up again. Western Forge. So I much prefer the Taiwan. The new Taiwan Craftsmen are so much nicer. The handles, cobalt blue, they're beautiful. But anyway, so you can see here, this is a problem that's been going on for a while. So let's see what we can do with this, okay? And the tip is mint. The tip is mint. So, but everything, you know, look at that. A little rust there. Let's get to it. First thing we're going to do is, again, it's clouding up, but this comes off pretty easy. You want to use a kind of an abrasive. We use that Barkeeper's Friend, a little piece of soft Scotch-Brite. Okay, here we use the patina buster, which is the wire brush on the electric motor, to get rid of just most of the surface rust you could see. Okay, so there we go. We cleaned it up. This would be a good user screwdriver now, but you see what we have here. Now, I could sand this down and polish it and get it clear and paint it, but this is a bad one. This is one of the worst ones I've ever had. If you smell this, oh, it smells like you know what. And this will always be bad, no matter what you do. So what are our choices here? My choice is to remove this and put a new handle on. So what do you say we save the shaft, which is in beautiful shape, and we remove this garbage handle, which is already bad, and put a new one on. If you want to see that, you have to tune in Friday, and we'll get right to that. Okay, so in closing, that was a fun episode today. What do you think of that vise? That's a crazy vise, huh? And Friday, we'll see if we can't put a handle on that screwdriver and save Mike's screwdriver. Special thanks to Mike for today's episode. A lot of great stuff. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again on Friday. Take care now. Bye-bye.